Thank you.
What for? I only did what every other psychopathic killer would do.
You, of all people, should know what it means to be released.
Look, I tried to hold up the investigation on the work release scheme for as long as possible. But after what's been happening here, well, there's the implication of you and Reynolds, Meg Jackson's association with an inmate's father, and now an officer involved with Noel.
Well, you've read my report.
I'm sorry, but the department isn't happy. They're sending over an inspector, Stuart Gillespie. He'll be spending some time here, and no doubt he'll be suggesting quite a few changes. If Wentworth isn't run the way he feels it should be, I don't have to warn you of the consequences.
Do you know who they'll be sending?
A man by the name of Stuart Gillespie. I don't know anything about him, but I'm sure he'll be most efficient at his work.
One of those, eh?
Yes, I'm afraid so. He'll look into every minor detail in the prison, and if he can find fault, I am sure he will.
It's not going to be easy, is it?
No, well, we'll just have to present the best front we can. There's a lot of sprucing up to be done here. I'd like you to organize a special work program.
Well, the fact that we're short-staffed isn't going to help.
I am aware of that. It's going to be difficult for everyone. But in a situation like this, we just have to pull together.
Yes, of course. Look, don't worry. I'm right behind you on it.
Thank you. I'm sure I'll need all the support I can get.
Struth, when you look at your faces, they're all so long you could tuck them into your knickers. Come on, let's have a smoke.
Well, isn't it worrying you, Bea, all those things they said about you on the radio and in the paper?
Yeah, that was bad luck, honey.
Oh, so what? I'm not out there. Who cares what they say on the outside? It wasn't here that matters.
Oh, I don't know, Bea. I reckon you should really do something.
Yeah, why don't you sue him?
Yeah, I can just see me ringing up my fancy lawyer to arrange it.
No, seriously, I think you should see a lawyer.
Oh, what's the point? I end up dragging my name down in the mud. Besides, like I said, who cares? We've got better things to think about.
Like what?
Like the panto.
Oh, yeah. I reckon we could do something real bonza.
Yeah, we'll have to decide what we're going to do, and I reckon Cinderella would be good.
Yeah, and I could be the fairy godmother.
Yes, and there are no shortage of ugly sisters, eh?
Oh, I don't know. Why don't we do something a bit more gutsy? Like, how about Little Red Riding Hood? I mean, kids love to be scared, and they make it really scary.
Yes, and I could play the big bad wolf. After all, that's right up my alley, jumping out at little girls, isn't it?
You could say that.
And you, my dear, where are you off to today, my pretty one?
I'm going to see my grandma.
Oh, I can be her.
Oh, no way. I have to eat her, and I reckon you'd be too tough.
Oh, you don't eat her, you put her in the cupboard. And then when the woodcutter comes along to save Little Red Riding Hood, he lets her out.
Well, who's going to play the woodcutter?
I reckon I can handle that. You give me an axe, I'll practice on Vera.
I'm just saying that it isn't right for us to try to deceive the department. They should see Wentworth exactly as it is.
Oh, for goodness sake, Vera. It's obvious Mrs. Davidson has to have the place looking as spick and span as possible. I agree with Jim. It's important for all of us to present a good image.
Yes, I think so, too.
Right, well, we've got 2 days before this man arrives. So our normal duties will be replaced by clean-up supervision.
Oh, well, the women aren't going to like the work much.
Do them good to do some hard work for a change.
It's not going to be slave labor. In fact, they might even enjoy the change from routine. Now, I've drawn up a list of responsibilities. Vera, will you take the garden?
It seems I don't have a choice.
Meg, H block.
Right.
Joyce, library.
The library?
Yes. And you too, Burns. There are still a lot of books to be sorted and put away.
Well, the change is as good as a holiday, I reckon.
And we could all do with a holiday from this joint.
Come on, you two.
I hope you lot can manage without us.
I don't think we'll notice any difference.
Did you hear that? I work me fingers to the bone, and what do you get for it?
Bony fingers.
Will you keep that noise down?
Oh, what's the matter, Miss Bennett? Got another hangover?
Do you want to end up in the pound, Smith?
No.
Stokes, Belly, Shepherd, this way, please.
What's with... They seem that we can run the laundry on our own.
The only thing we think you two are capable of is pulling up weeds. Now, you'll both be working in the garden under my supervision.
What about the laundry?
Look, just do as you're told, Smith. You don't need to know why.
Pardon me.
Hey, look, Lizzie, more comics. How terrific.
Oh, I like a good book myself. A good romantic story. Takes me a while to get through them, but I like to read how things used to be.
Imagine yourself being swept off your feet by Rudolph Vasilino or something, whatever his name was.
Rudolph Valentino. Good, I reckon he'd be a bit old to be sweeping anybody off their feet. I'm a bit past it myself, too, I reckon.
Here's the bloke I like, the Phantom.
Bloody ugly-looking coot.
How would you know? He never takes his mask off or his costume.
Come on, get on with it. You're supposed to be sorting them, Doreen, not reading them.
Hey, have a look at this. A history of the Wentworth district. I reckon we might get a Guernsey in this.
Prison, you mean?
Yeah, I reckon they ought to mention it.
Oh, probably written before this place was even built. Looks old enough.
Oh, I don't know. This place has been built for over 20 years, you know. Hasn't it, Mrs. Barry?
Oh, some of the amenities seem that old, Lizzie.
Especially the showers and the loos.
Oh, most of the building's been modernised, of course.
Well, they could have made it a bit more bloody comfortable while I was at it. I'm going to read this.
No, you two keep working. Now, I've got a couple of other areas to check on. I'll be back shortly, but I expect that whole pile to be sorted by then.
Yeah, you can trust us.
Time for a smoko, don't you reckon?
I reckon. Hey, can you just imagine him coming through your window one night?
Wouldn't be much bloody good to you if he never takes his costume off.
Oh, Lizzie.
Here's a picture of us.
Of us?
The prison, I mean. Oh, look at all them paddocks where the houses are now. Let's see what it says. Oh, here we are. The Wentworth homestead, which gave the district its name, was built in the late 1860s. Beautifully furnished and appointed, the house was the site of many lavish parties and balls. At these functions, the wine flowed freely. God, I wish I'd been there.
Well, where does he get the bit about the prison?
Hang on, I'm coming to that. Wentworth Homestead became famous for its extensive wine cellars. The house itself was demolished in the late 1830s, and the picture on the facing page shows the construction of the proposed women's penal institution, Wentworth Detention Centre. The famous wine cellars are now part of the detention centre's stormwater drainage system. God, do you know what that could mean?
No, what?
If them cellars are still there, we could be sitting on a mountain of booze.
How is everything, Mrs. Jackson?
Well, we've got all the women working in different areas. We should have the place spick and span by the time the inspector arrives.
It's going to be a very disruptive time, I'm afraid.
I hope my taking some time off after the marriage won't be too difficult. I know you're short-staffed already.
You're entitled to a honeymoon. We can't deny you that.
Bob and I would like to have a church wedding, but a very simple one. As we've both been married before, we don't want too much fuss. Just want to share it with our friends.
Yes, of course. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, actually, I was hoping that you'd be matron of honour.
Oh, Meg, I'd be delighted. Even if I'm no longer governor by then.
Bea?
Yeah.
I've been reading this book.
Well, it must have pictures in it.
No, listen to me. It's all about the Wentworth district, and it reckons this place is built where the old Wentworth homestead used to be, and it had cellars full of plonk.
Big deal. That's not going to do us any good, is it?
Well, it might.
Yeah, the book says that the cellars are still there.
Yeah, and if the cellars are still there, there might still be some plonk. Oh, come on.
They would have got rid of it by now, Lizzie.
Oh, they could have missed some.
I think it's highly unlikely, Lizzie.
Still, what you thinking, Bea?
I'd like to have a look at that book.
I sneaked it into me cell so you can have a look at it after lunch.
What you got in mind, Bea?
I don't know yet. We could always tell everyone we've got our own cellar.
Yeah, sounds real posh, doesn't it? Excuse me, I am going to the cellar to get some red wine to drink with our lunch.
Oh, jolly good idea. I always think red goes well with stew, don't you?